Hey, Kim, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
So thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Why don't we start off by you just telling us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
All right. Well, I am a mom of a 10-year-old daughter and a wife. I've been married, gosh, almost 13 years and have worked in education for over 18 years. And from that, founded Project Stellar Resources, which is actually named after my 10-year-old daughter as a way to kind of leave a legacy for her. And the whole thing that I do with Project Stellar Resources is help parents and educators be able to, when they're frustrated with kind of all the yelling and the squabbling and the classroom management, be able to transform their homes, their classroom, schools, and communities with students who rock, who radiate outrageous compassion and kindness.
How do you do that?
I do that through providing different resources. I have curriculum and develop. I do talks, trainings, facilitate discussions, and really just kind of start out with doing needs assessments and finding out where they're struggling, especially for educators nowadays. There's so much with burnout. They entered into school with these hopes and dreams of making this huge impact on students' lives, and then classroom management stuff gets in the way and drama gets in the way. And so I kind of go back and I help them discover through just easy techniques how to find that passion again and to be able to help their students.
So cool. So, why did you want to get into this? Why is this important to you?
Yeah, well, I have been, volunteering for a very young age. Started out with my grandmother going to nursing homes, and she had a group that would sing, and they would bring me up on stage, and I couldn't sing, but I saw that people enjoyed it, and then continued on in middle school. And when I was in high school, my counselor said, "What is it you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to make a difference." She didn't really know what to kind of do with that, and we were able to kind of funnel that and channel that in different ways. But it made me kind of realize that there's a lot of kids, a lot of youth out there that they just have the sense of, I want to do something great, I want to make a difference, but kind of us adults, we don't really know how to help with that. And so I wanted to be able to help those parents and educators. So when a kid comes and says, I want to do this, I feel like I should do something, but I have no idea where to get started, then the adults are not feeling so overwhelmed, and they can just go to my website or pull up a journal and help guide the child through that process.
I love it. So, tell us a little bit about your business model. It's a mix between online and offline, yeah?
It is. I do. I also, with working in education, I currently work with college students right now, and work with local community members. So I do a lot of kind of the speaking engagements and the different trainings through that. But there is a lot of an online component now because I was only reaching a certain number of people in person, and yet I would have people come to me and say, I live in Florida. How can I take advantage of this? Or I live in North Carolina. How can I take advantage of this? And I'm all the way in Arizona. So the online component became very important because a lot of the trainings and stuff that I did in person, I can now do online and also have a community of people that are able to join together and kind of voice out, I want to plan this service project, but how do I go about doing this? Or I want to do this fundraiser, and they can kind of pick each other's brains to be
So
able to do
cool.
that.
So, what does that
Yeah.
look like to have this online? Did you create a course or what did you put together?
And it first started out with a journal. It's a service project coordinator workbook. And that was how it kind of first started out. But then I found that that could easily, because it was a workbook, I could easily then put that into a course. And it's a course that students can take online or parents can take in order to help their students. And it goes just through 8 different modules, exactly following the curriculum in the workbook. Going from the very beginning to I have a vision or I want to have a vision. How do I create that? To then how do I work with the community partner? How do I fundraise? What are the logistics? That's definitely where my strength kind of lies. Is close your eyes and imagine you're the very first person walking into the service project. What do you need to know? I need to know where the bathrooms are. I need to know where the toilet paper is, first aid kits, all those things. And then going into the celebration and the recognition part at the end, which then generates publicity for your future events. So I was able to put that all online on a course, and then through a blog I'm able to kind of give all of those tips and resources available and have it there for anybody that's just finding me, that they can go and learn more.
How do people find you? What is your visibility plan online?
It has really been originally when it started, it was my Facebook friends. And I had like a page from when I was a teacher that I did. But then I found Pinterest and started learning to use Pinterest. And it went from bothering the same 500 people to now having a global audience that is finding me every single day and learning. And it opened up my mind because I was kind of very centered to my local area, but then realized there is this global audience that I can work with and I can reach. And that all of this service, volunteerism, kindness, it's a universal theme that everybody kind of wants to know how they can make an impact, how they can make a difference.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Amazing.
yeah.
Okay, keep going, keep going. Where
Oh,
else?
no, no. Yeah.
Mostly
Yeah.
Pinterest is what you're
Yeah, so mostly is all Pinterest. And I tried doing a couple of other things, but really learned that I had to kind of focus on one thing until I really started doing it well. And it was Pinterest. And every time I kind of went away from Pinterest, I noticed that the energy kind of was a little bit low. And so I'd go back to Pinterest and kind of go back to the basics of that, and it picks up every time. And yeah, when I look at I keep looking at my statistics and looking at my graph, and it doubled from November to December and has just kept growing. And the majority of the traffic is from Pinterest. So it's been
amazing.
great.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. So you're funneling people from Pinterest and then are you getting them on your email list?
I do. I have actually 2 different opt-ins because I do kind of serve 2 different. I serve parents and educators, which in my niche really overlaps a lot. But I offer when they come to my website, there is it's the 15 easy activities to kindness activities to add to your busy schedule. Because that's what I was hearing from parents all the time is we want to do service, we want to talk to our kids about kindness, but I work. We're going to baseball. We're going to band practice. We're going to all these things. How do I incorporate kindness or make that part of the conversation? So I offer, they're just like printable cards that families can print out and use to add just a daily kindness activity or an activity during the week. And then for the educators, I have created a kindness wheel. And teachers love this because they're tired of standing up in front of their class saying, you need to be kind, you need to be kind. This is an activity that when students come in the morning to their class, they get to spin this wheel and it tells them an activity to do for the day. Hold the door open for someone, let somebody borrow a pencil, pick up somebody's trash or trash that you found on the playground. But it just gives them one simple activity, and then they work to do that during the day, and then they reflect on it. There's a little reflection sheet at the end. So the students begin their day thinking about what can I do to be kind, and then end the day thinking about, hey, this is how doing that made me feel. And so they're able to get either of those, and that adds you to the email list, which also gives you free resources, a free online vault with tons of other service project guides and activities that families and young youth can do.
What a cool idea. That is, I love that. Love it.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
to us about collaboration. How have you
Yes.
collaborated with other people, either in your industry or just other people in general, to help you get more visibility?
Yes. Well, from early on with kind of just doing service projects, collaboration is huge because you want to use your resources wisely. And when I was working with college students in the beginning, we noticed that there would be like 3 organizations on a campus. They would all want to do a Halloween carnival. And yet they had issues with having enough volunteers or enough students. So we just simply told them, collaboration, if all 3 organizations joined together and did one Halloween carnival, you're going to have more people show up. You don't have to use as many of your own resources, and then word of mouth helps publicize. And that same idea works so well in business, and also especially on the your online network, because um, you're able to kind of use the audience each person has. So I think definitely my niche is working with parents and educators, and then I may have somebody else that has their niche and it's working with moms of toddlers. Well, a lot of it overlaps. And so we're able to do collaborations. If we're both creating courses, then we can do bonuses for each other. We did a Moms Who Rock, Moms Who Radiate Outrageous Compassion Kindness conference, and we're able to get speakers from kind of our online network to come in, and everybody was able to offer kind of a freebie and talk a little bit about what they did. And yeah, it was huge. We had over 2,000 and people registered for this conference, and they all wanted to learn about the different components of being a mom, and how do you have self-care, and how that can affect your family and help your family. So collaboration is huge because it also provides you with people that will support you when you're feeling down and when you're dealing with kind of frustrations and challenges, because you're collaborating with people from all different levels. Some might have been in business for 12 years, some might be this is their first 6 months, but you can definitely learn from each other. And so opening yourself up to that collaboration is huge for that.
Where do you find people to collaborate with? Are these people you already know, or is it like a
No.
stranger? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I was part of the Impact Blogging Academy, and that was where I kind of first got my start of realizing there were other people like me who had a vision or a dream and wanted to get start out. And we just kind of became a tight knit community, and we're all located in different places, but we all have different things to offer. And so that was really where I have found some of my strongest collaborations, because we want to see each other succeed. I've been in things before where you have a group of women, and that sense of competition is always there. But in a community like that, where we were all going through the same process and having a weekly calls and got to learn about each other, then we got to see what we could each offer one another. And then that kind of grew from there. Then we each had our own audiences or people we worked with. And in supporting one another, you got to meet other people that you could then collaborate. So it's kind of like throwing kind of a pebble in the water, and you just start seeing the ripples go out, and it expands and expands and expands. But you got to find kind of that supportive community first to start that collaboration with. And for me, it was Impact Blogging Academy.
It's been amazing to see all of you grow after
Yeah,
going through the Impact Blogging Academy. I'm like, it fills up my heart. Like, I'm so proud of
yeah.
you guys. It's so fun to see that.
Thank yes.
So, talk to us about journaling, since that's something that you have as that workbook. Why is this important to you?
I think a lot of it is I'm an introvert. And so I am in my head a lot and I process everything in my head. And sometimes I can get caught up in that. And so with doing the workbooks and doing the journals, that helps me get out of my head and gets things put on paper or so that I can actually use those thoughts and go back and reflect. I do it a lot before bed, and I will journal and just kind of do a brain dump of different things, and then yeah, and then when I wake up in the morning, I can kind of start fresh and look through and get ideas, and so that's something that I feel is really important that youth are learning kind of at a young age is that they can kind of their thoughts and their feelings and their plans and their ideas for projects and ideas for what they want to do are very, very important. And so by getting that down on paper and using the different workbooks to help you work through that, I tend to always lead more to very practical things. That's just kind of how my mind works, is logistics and practical steps. And so a lot of my writing prompts and a lot of my workbooks will do just that and kind of work you through the practical things, breaking it down into steps. And yeah, just getting it out there so that you can look back on it when that information is going to be important to you.
I think that's
So
journaling is so key. I know for me, as entrepreneurs, we have like a million things in our head at all times. And if you're not careful, it's so easy to get overwhelmed or just like be like a squirrel and like, I have to do this and this and this.
yes.
So, like, putting it actually down on paper to figure out, just like get it out of your head on paper and then prioritize. And like, oh man, that has been a game changer for me, I know.
Yeah, definitely. And especially then when you're actually kind of starting in the business world too, it helps you see your growth also. And
It's
it helps you look back.
crazy. When I
Yeah.
look back at some of my journals from a few years ago, and I'm like, no way. Like the things I wrote down actually happened. And it's just like,
Yeah.
man, write stuff down and then start dreaming bigger because you could do
Mhm.
anything.
Yes, definitely.
What's been one of the biggest struggles that you've had in your business and how have you overcome it?
I think the biggest struggle, one, has been my own mindset. I've been one of those people that I've tried so many kind of different things. That one was never really my passion, but I felt like I should try this. So when I then started Project Stellar Resources, it was really working on my mindset, but then also being strong enough in my mindset that I kind of started not listening to the voices around me that was saying, should you really be doing this? Or is this really what you want to be spending your time doing? And I know a lot of women that I've worked with, we all kind of hear from our spouses or from our parents or from different people that I know in my case, it's definitely speaking from a place of concern and not wanting you to maybe waste time doing something that's not going to work out. But the challenge is kind of putting your blinders on and being able to be focused and not let that kind of penetrate your mindset, but to continue to be strong, fill yourself up with personal development, professional development, community, hearing from others, and just keep going. I have on my computer right now, it says just keep swimming. And that just reminds me that I just need to keep going, even when in my mindset sometimes wants to get me down.
Amazing advice. Put those blinders on. It's
Yeah.
so hard in the beginning because, like, you have that vision and you're working like crazy to make it happen, but you don't actually see like the tangible effects of it for a while. Like, you don't see the money coming in or,
Right.
anything happening. And I know for me, when I was in my first business, gosh, my parents are amazing, but I would just remember my dad saying like, Rachel, this isn't working. Like you have to go get a real
Yeah.
job. And that like that was 100% out of care and concern for me because he didn't want to see me struggle. But I was like, no, I got this. Like I'm gonna make it happen. And that like it
Yes.
that kind of like added fuel to my fire of like, oh, I'll show him. Like and now
Ye-
he's like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're doing what you're doing. I think that's why it's so important to have a community of entrepreneurs around you that are going to encourage you because most people around you, like your friends and family that aren't entrepreneurs, they don't get it. And they don't get why we're working so hard for something when you don't see what's like the benefit of it yet.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I know for me, like, again, I love to go back and look at my numbers and see where I came. And when I just look at my blog and Project Seller Resources, and I think started back in May with really even just making this kind of possible. And I look and like June and July, my numbers went up and I was so happy. But I kind of hit this point of end of September, October, where it was kind of at the lowest. And I know actually during that point I was like, well, is this worth it? Is can I do this? And I was like, no, because I had that community and everybody was still kind of pushing each other on. I um i went through it. I just kept swimming, and then all of a sudden December, I was hitting stats that I never even kind of dreamed of, and then it's just kept going up. But I think of if I would have quit back in that November, October, November, when I really kind of felt that low and was letting the voices, outside voices, get to me, then I would have never seen what I've been able to do right now and have had the opportunities I've been able to have in the past couple months.
It's literally like your breakthrough is right on the other
Yeah,
side of that like wall that you're up against. And most people like
yeah,
they're not willing to push through that wall, you know? And I'm so proud of you that you kept going even when it was hard. Because it's when you like you
yeah,
keep going and you don't stop, that's when you have that breakthrough. And that's
yes,
amazing. That's so exciting to see.
yes.
Ah, so exciting to see. What's the best investment that you've made as an entrepreneur?
Oh wow. I'd have to say, and I know I'm saying it here, but it definitely was the IBA Impact Blogging Academy, because one, it helped me work through that hard point of October, November. It provided me. I haven't even met in person many of the women who are part of that community, but yet we talk, we get on Zoom calls with each other, we take part in each other's courses and opportunities. We learn very practical steps. That's what's just great about the academy, is that we work through that practical, this is what you do, now you do this, now you do this, and it kind of just pushes you along. And you have that group atmosphere where yeah, you're just learning from each other. And so that was definitely one of the biggest investments, but the investment that has been worth it the most, because we now still talk to each other. We use each other, all the students, we use each other as a sounding board. And we're some of each other's biggest cheerleaders and biggest fans. And it was because of that. And it was risky for me because I had just started this idea in May, June, and I think we started maybe like in August. So it was just kind of brand new, getting started. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? But I kind of took a chance and took a chance on myself, and it was definitely worth it.
It's paid off.
So
Look at you grow.
yes,
Oh man.
yes.
What's the best
So
book you've read?
ooh, okay. So the 12-week year has been huge for me, because I am definitely one of those persons. I love setting goals, but what the 12-week year kind of does is where instead of setting those yearly goals, you're setting it for 12 weeks. And that has been a huge breakthrough for me in learning that I just kind of break my year into 3 months. And all right, I am focused kind of on this one thing and I'm going to work towards it. And I'll focus on this one thing and I'll work towards it. And it has definitely helped me the most. The other book I read, and I am probably going to get this wrong, but it's an Andy Stanley book, and I'll have to go look it up and maybe include it so that it can go into maybe the show notes or anything.
He has a good podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's all about like he gives the example in the beginning that if you want to go to Florida, if you get on like I-75 North, you're never going to make it to Florida because you're going to keep going north and north, no matter what your intentions are, anything. So you've got to kind of have your intentions, but also be in the right direction.
Yeah.
And yeah, gosh, I totally blanked on what the name is,
You
but
can just tell me and we'll put it in the show
yeah,
notes. It's all
yeah,
good.
that's perfect.
It's all good.
Yep. Yeah.
What does it mean to you to make an impact?
Oh gosh, really for me, coming from an education background and education's where I've been is empowering and inspiring others so that they want to make an impact. Kind of that pay it forward type thing. That is huge, and it kind of creates that ripple effect that will keep going and going. So if I can just talk to one person and inspire them to believe in themselves so that they want to make a difference and that they want to make an impact, then I've kind of met my objective for the day. So it's really that is passing it on, leaving a legacy,
Yes.
um, seeing my 10-year-old daughter and seeing her love for helping out people and wanting to be kind and following her dreams. She wants to go into animation and anime, and she asks all the time, she's like, but can I do that at my age? And I just want to say, yes, you can pursue that. So that's making an impact for me.
I adore your
Yeah.
heart. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I love you.
thanks.
What's next for you?
What's next? Well, I'm still working with parents. We are starting the Raising Kids Who Rock. So raising kids who radiate outrageous compassion and kindness. We just published a book that was actually written with my 10-year-old daughter. It's called 52 Kids Who Rock Every Day, Inspiring Stories from Young People Who Radiate Outrageous Compassion and Kindness. And this was the most humbling experience for me because I asked for nominations of kids from all over the world, all over the United States, of kids that are doing acts of kindness every day. And I just cried. Like these stories just really brought me to tears. To a 5-year-old who, on Random Acts of Kindness Day, went into a restaurant and handed out coupons for free custard, and to just complete strangers, and to realize that he'd been planning this for months and saving up his coupons from his like kids meals so that he could go on this day and be kind to others. To a girl who she has an interest in going into Disneyland, and she had the chance to win a Disneyland trip by selling 5,000 boxes of cookies. But instead of going to Disneyland herself, she donated it to a child that was sick from a kind of a underprivileged area. And so this book shares those stories. With the youngest child featured in here is 5 years old, the oldest child senior in high school. And so it's supposed to be inspiring, but what we've also done in the book is that if someone is reading the book and they says, hey, I want to do that, we actually provide step-by-step guides through the books of how the child can start their own project and do that. So we'll share a story of a 7-year-old who watches her buddy bench at school so that she can get kids up that are feel lonely and want to play. And then on the very next page, we tell the reader how to go to your principal, go to your director of your school, and see if you can start your own buddy bench program at your school. And so the book is full for that. So that's kind of what we're going is we just want to share that message. And then from there, this summer, we're launching our Schools That Rock program. So, wanting to support the educators that want to incorporate more compassion and kindness into their classroom management plans. So, from having bulletin board plans, from things like the kindness wheel that they can add, just little things that they can add to their classroom and to their school, how to start a kindness club at your school. That will all be available this summer to plan for the next school year.
Exciting. We'll make
So,
sure to put all those links in the show notes. Where can we
yes.
connect with you?
I am on just on the web, www.projectstellarresources.com. I'm there. You can also find me on Facebook. Project Stella TRC is kind of that Facebook tag there. Not too active on Instagram yet. That's a new place that I need to kind of get into. But yeah, everything that I kind of provide is through kind of my website that you can get your tips and your resources and find out more, find out things that you can do today to stop bullying in your classroom, or things that you can do if you're traveling as a family. What are 5 kindness activities that you can do? All that's available on projectstellarresources.com.
Amazing. We'll
So,
put all of that in the show
yes.
notes. Kim, it has
So,
been so cool to see you grow, and
thank
it's
you.
just amazing to see the impact that you're
Yeah.
making, not just in your community. Now it's a global, like a whole worldwide impact that you're
Yes.
doing, which is amazing. So, amazing job. Keep it up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.